Okay, good morning. I'm from the Human Rights Commission. I want to speak to you and ask you a few questions. Can you tell me your name, please?
Tisa.
Tisa, how do you spell that?
Tisa.
Okay, and is that your first name or your last name?
My first.
Okay. And what's your last name?
Mulia.
Molia. Can you speak? Molia.
Mm.
Can you speak up, please?
Mulia.
Okay, and how do you spell that?
M-U-L-I-A.
Okay. And how old are you?
25.
25. And are you married?
Yes, I have a son.
Are you married?
Yes,
question.
yes, I.
Okay,
and
good.
And can you help me with? I was contacting my son. I've been here for a long time and I couldn't contact my son. I need to talk to him.
I think maybe we can talk about that at the end. That's not really what I'm here for.
But could you help me?
Like I say, that's not really what I'm here for. Maybe we can talk about that later. But so you said you're married, and why were you arrested?
They accused me that I'm selling drugs.
You sell drugs?
Yeah, they told me.
Okay. And have you been tortured?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
You don't know what torture means?
No, I don't understand you.
Have they hurt you at any time?
They slapped me.
Okay, and anything more serious, more important?
No. Well, they slap me and that's what they do. It's their job.
But you're fine now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, they...
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
A bad interview would be any interview that looks like an interrogation for the person deprived of liberty. So this should be kept in mind in terms of sitting arrangements, sitting close to the person but not in front of a table. Types of questions: you should not ask first the name and the reason of the deprivation of liberty, the body language, and the general attitude of this interview. A good interview with a person deprived of liberty would be an interview where you are able to establish a relation of trust with the person.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine.
My name is Surya Ryan, and I'm from the National Human Rights Commission. Have you heard of the National Human Rights Commission?
Mm-hmm.
It's an organization that looks after people who are in detention, who are in prison or held by the police. And what we do is we try and make sure that people who are held by the police are treated better.
And this requires a series of skills like empathy, active listening, also the positive question: let the person speak instead of interrupting, and then maybe come back with some issues that are important, and reassure the person about the confidentiality of this interview, and then ask for her consent whether this information can be transmitted to the authorities or not.
So I just wanted to hear a bit about how you've been treated since you've been here, and I wanted to ask a few questions. It won't take very long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Would it be okay to talk to you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Anything you say to me is I'm going to write it down for myself, if that's okay with you. But I won't put your name down, and I won't tell anyone outside my own organization. So no one will know that you said these things to me. It's just for us to use so that we can analyze what happens in this place. Is that okay?
And then maybe also discuss about the risks of reprisals about these discussions. The location of the interview is an essential element in this building of the trust with a person deprived of liberty. So you should choose the location very carefully. The monitoring team should avoid any location that looks like administrative offices, because the monitoring team has to be perceived as independent and neutral. And the best way is probably to discuss with the person where she feels confident to have such an interview in private. If the monitoring team is a national preventive mechanism that has the mandate to come back regularly to the same place, then maybe it's better to have the interview carried out on several steps, especially if there are some sensitive issues that the monitoring team feels that needs more time. So you are able to come back and continue the interview later on. Questions should be framed and asked in an open and non-leading way, which means questions should not be answered by a yes or no answer, and should be non-leading. This means that they should not contain the answer. For example, a typical question that should be avoided is, have you been tortured? But it should rather be asked, how have you been treated during your arrest or arrival at the place?
So thank you for taking the time to speak to me. I think I don't have any more questions for the moment. But as I said at the beginning, everything you've told me is just for my use and for my colleagues, so that we can analyze how people are treated in general in this place.